Okay, today we're learning the Gemara of Kama Daf, Beis Amud Beis. Ton Rabbanon, Shetzoru Beis Chashmonoi Ze Al Ze. Beis Chashmonoim, they were during Beis Sheni, when they conquered the Yevonim, they held to the kingdom about 100 years. Then they lost their kingdom to their Eved Hordus. He was in the last 103 years of the Beis Sheni. So that means they were approximately 200 and some years before the destruction of Beis Sheni. They held to the Melucha for about 100 years.
What's the happening?
The question afterwards. Horkanus Mebifnim, Aristobulus Mebachus. So the two brothers, Horkanus and Aristobulus, they were fighting over the kingdom. Who's going to be the king? And again, one of the generations of the Bnei Chashmonoi. So there was one brother, Horkanus, he was inside Yerusholime, and Aristobulus outside of Yerusholime. And they're fighting. Aristobulus will come in, conquer Yerusholime, and he wants to take over the kingdom over there. So meanwhile, so the people inside the Beis Hamikdash are still operating. They need to bring Korban Atomid in the morning and evening, and they can't get a hold of animals. So what they did is they brought from the choyma, from the wall of Yerushalayim, brought down, sent down some money, and the other party, from the Horkanus party, sent some money down, and the Aristobulus party sent them the animal. It was the win-win. They get the money and they get the animal, and this way they could bring the Korbanos in Beis Hamikdash. There was an old man over there that we're going to see why it was so important to say that he was makir b'chochma yevonis, in wisdom of the Greeks. Why it was so important, we're going to see. Omar Lohem. So he told that he was on the camp of Aristobulus, out of Yerushalayim. There's people inside Yerushalayim, as long as they're busy with bringing the avoida and Beis Hamikdash, Korbanos and Beis Hamikdash, and nimsorim b'yedchem. You're never going to conquer them, so you're counterproductive. Yeah, you get a few dollars. Maybe they got the premium money for it for those animals, but you're not going to conquer them because they have the schus of the avoida. So what do? The mochar shilshelu dindrim bekupa. The next day, when they brought down the money from Yerushalayim to the people of Aristobulus, v'helu lam chazir. They brought, instead of putting in the box a lamb, they put over there a chazir. So the Gemara says, "Kevan shegiel lechatzi achoyma noa tziporna b'choyma." When he got to the middle of the wall, didn't even reach the highest point yet. So he started putting his nails into the walls of Yerushalayim, this chazir. Nizdazo Eretz Yisrael arba mas parsa, arba mas parsa. The whole Eretz Yisrael were shaken. They felt like an earthquake over there. Arba mas parsa. That doesn't mean we have a length of arba mas parsa, but we don't have a width. But total. The size of Yerushalayim, it's totaling arba mois parsa. Each parsa, it's about 4 kilometers. So arba mois parsa would be 1,600 kilometers square, 600 kilometers. Again, we have to count today how it works. I don't know, but that's what it says over here. That was the size. Anyway, so when this has happened, when they sent the chazir over there, the chachomim decided, oru ro'ishi gadol chazirim. The Gemara before that spoke what you're allowed to raise, what kind of animals. We're going to make a halacha shiur out of this. Lamaisa, what kind of animals you're allowed to have. Not one of the animals that forbidden to have. It's chazirim. Because of this story, the story happened with the chazir. They said you cannot raise chazirim. We don't have it around. Such a horrible story happened. And it says also curse a person that's going to teach his son Greek's wisdom, Greek's chokhmah. So again, two gezeres. One, nobody should raise any chazerim, and also nobody should teach his son. And the reason for it, because since the man that said this advised, there was somebody that knew chokhmah, Yevon said not to do it. Okay, so this story, there's a lot to learn from this. Why Lamashal they put a chazer? They didn't want the group outside, didn't want the group inside to bring the korban. They could have put anything not kosher, dog, a cat. Why did they choose to give them a chazer? So the Ben Yoyada, he asked this question, and he says the reason they sent them a chazir and not other animal. He says the yadua chazir uklipa gedola. All the non-kosher animals. It's brought in Tanya that all the kosher things in this world from klipa snoiga And the non-kosher items, all of them are from Shalosh Klippas Atmeyas Legamre. There is a two group of klippas. There's four klippas. One klippa called Klippas Noiga, Toivara. All the kosher stuff are coming from Klippas Noiga, which is the idea of Noiga. It's like a twilight. It's like has a darkness and light, so it depends how you use it. Either you elevate it or you bring it down. But there is non-kosher stuff at Shalosh Klippas Atmeyas Legamre. You cannot deal with them. However, within this Shalosh Klippas Atmeyas, there is some worse klippas than others. And it says a Chazari Klippa Gedoylam. Lochen Toy Chazir Yes Yud Zayin. If you look at the word Chazir, that's Zayin Yud in the middle of the word Chazir, and it says Gematria Toiv. He says Shebelua Beklipos Chelek Toiv. Deep inside the Chazir, there is some something good in it too. And Adra, but the more the good is deep inside, covered, the klippa became harder. Asher Adei Kach Tia Klipos Kosher. And by the way, that's how the Mittel Rebbe, maybe it's before, but that I remember from the Mittel Rebbe, how he explained that in Paroi, when he saw the dreams of the good cows and the bad cows, and how the good cows swallow the bad cows. And then it says, "Velo noida kibo el kirbeno." You didn't even see it. After you could imagine if somebody eating a big meal, you could feel he just ate, he's all puffed. And the bad cows, when they ate the good cows, you didn't feel anything on the bad cows. They remained the same skinny as they were before. So the Mittel Rebbe explained over there the idea of those cows, that so that this world has Hashpoel Lakis. Hashem sends over your energy, life to this world. The good cows, they represent the Hashpoel Lakis, which has come from Kedusha. It's holy Hashpoel. The bad cows represents the klippas. And he says the klippas, they don't have their own source of life. The source of life is one. Chaya Chaim is a Kedush Baruch Hu. They don't have their own. So they getting also from Kedusha. That's the pshat. The bad cows ate the good cows. The klippas eating the chayus of Kedusha. But it's so covering on the chayus of Kedusha. Well, he lives off of Kedusha. He lives off Hashem. But it says, like an atheist, Aniva Afsiyad, I'm on my own. No one supports me. Because that's the meaning of klippa. Klippa meaning covering. The klippa is the shell that's covering on the fruit. You don't see the fruit. So it's something over here inside the chazir. There's a good part. Chayis Eloki, that he is alive because Hashem gives him life. The more, the better is the Chayis Eloki. The klippa surrounding it, covering it so good, the klippa becomes klippa kosher. You don't see the Chayis Eloki. He says, and then you bring the Kosa Morena Rav Nosson. I'm not sure which Rav Nosson he means. Maybe he means the Rebbe of the Chassam Sofer, Rav Nosson Adler. I'm not sure, but that's what it says. The Kosa Morena Rav Nosson. Zal, the klippas Chazir Hira Ayin. Specifically, what Chazir, what klippa he represents? It's a bad eye. I know that. It means somebody a miser, they don't want to share. That's the klippa of Chazir. That's what some people say to somebody, he's like a Chazir. I mean, he doesn't want to give, he doesn't want to give in, he doesn't want to share. A Chazir. That's like, but B'nei people sometimes say things and they happen to be right. So the Chazir is a klippa of Ra'ayin. Oh, Velochen, he says, a Chazir atachton, yvismu es en of Yomus. If you take a Chazir and you're going to blind, his eye is going to die. Because his whole chayus is from eye. He's a bad eye. He's going to die. Oh, and he brings us because of the Esav Dover Beklipas Chazir. It's broad known that the Esav was compared to the klippa of Chazir. Velochen oyer Ra'ayin. Esav was known to be, he was a very, he couldn't forgive, couldn't give in for anything. He was a very Ra'ayin. Velochen Edom yesh lahem Ein Ro. Known to the countries and the nations come from Edom. I already spoke about this. We're going to find out when Mashiach is going to come exactly which nations are the Edomim today. They have this Inyan Ein Ro. As it says, Kavuva Besifra Megala. Oh, that's Megala Amukas. That's not. Yeah. So it's not Rav Nosson Adler. It's Megala Amukas. Okay. And he says, Pirashti Mashakos Vina Esav Bov, and Esav met, which is Esav compared to Chazir when he met with Yaakov Avinu. He says, V'arba is ish imoy. So he says, if you take Tov ish Minyan Ra'ayin, if he says Tov ish, it's Minyan Ra'ayin. So that's what Esav brought with him, the klippa of Ra'ayin. That's why he couldn't forgive Yaakov Avinu. It was Ra'ayin, but what Yaakov did to him, he couldn't forgive. After 20 years, it's come from bad eye. It comes from somebody, a Ra'ayin. So he says, the Efsher, the Hem Kivnu Ledover Ze Gamken. Maybe those people, which is brought the Chazir, they were mechaven to this, to the Indian, to bring that klippa of the Chazir, which is a very strong klippa, not some non-kosher animal. One of the worst form of klippas to bring over there to weaken their tzaddik kedusha. By the way, he says, "V'lochen Edom oyahavim Chazir." Many European countries love very much the Chazir because that's their klippa. Okay, it says like this. Then it says like this. Why they brought the Chazir? What you fighting? The people from the outside told the people inside, what you fighting over yerusholime? It's a strong hold. You're not letting it go. He says, One day they knew already that the house is going to be destroyed. The Beis Hamikdash, by Shane, they all knew it's going to be destroyed and it's going to be given to Edom, which is Chazir. That's what I said. That's the Chazir. You're going to lose it to them. Because Chazir represents Edom, the Edomim. That's the Romans of that time. So he says, well, why are you fighting over it? Give it already now. שכבר הסנבא על זה דוד המלך, תמיד על ננרס בובל, in קוף למד זין, capital 137, David המלך says already, זכור השם בבני אדום, את יום ירושלים, אומרים אורו אורו עד יסוד בו, meaning the Edom, the first Beis Hamikdash was destroyed by Nebuchadnezzar, by the Kasdim. The second one will be the Romim, and David the Melech had already a capital before the Beis Hamikdash was built about Edom. So he says, and so why are you fighting? That's what happened at the end. Titus came, which is the Romans, and he destroyed, broke the wall and destroyed the Beis Hamikdash. And that's why they send them a Chazir. Oh, he says that that's the Pshat in the Gemara, and his Dazo, Eretz Yisrael, Arba Moes Parsat. We said each parsat 4 kilometers, 1,600 square kilometers. It was shaking the whole Eretz Yisrael. Kimin 400, Kimin, and he says, Ra Ayin, the Gematria of 400, Klippas Chazir. Shegbiru Oysa Bekoyach, Bekach Oysa Shah. That's what they brought, that Klippa, to Magbir, that Klippa. Okay, so according to this, they put a curse, nobody should raise Chazarim anymore, and nobody should teach Chochmah Yevonis. Now we're going to go a little bit explain what it means to us today. As we said always, you have to take from anything you learn in Chumash or Chazal, translate it to the practical life today. What we can do from this today. That's I'll tell you. The Gemara before talk about how there were takonas made already from time of Moshe Rabbeinu, and then Ezra Ed and those takonas that the Eden should be reading Torah every 3 days. That's why we have Kriyas HaTorah. We have Sheni v'Chamishi v'Shabbos, Mincha v'Shabbos. We should not be 3 days without Torah, because that's good. If we need more than that, but that's the minimum, because if somebody doesn't have that, it could weaken him spiritually a lot. But the davening is a lot more than that. The davening is minimum. The davening Shachris Mincha, then the Chazal Ed later on Ma'ariv. The davening is a lot more often. The learning, I said, we have to learn Yom V'Layla, but the minimum, don't skip 3 days without. That's why every 3 days we have Kriyas HaTorah to give the Mechazak and the Shama. Davening is 3 times a day. Now, by davening, there's differences between davening and Torah. We spoke about many times. Torah has nothing to do with space. That's why the Torah was never given in Eretz Yisrael. We got the Torah in Chutz La'aretz, and in the Torah Shebal Peh, the Talmud Bavli, the main Torah we follow, was in Bavel. I mean, the Torah is not limited to space. Davening, we said, is exactly the opposite. Davening, it's limited to space. Let's have to go to Eretz Yisrael, through yerusholime, through Beis Hamikdash. And even davening now, with the davening towards that space. It's have to go through that space of Beis Hamikdash. So the davening, the avodah today, it's also like tefillas connected to midim tiknu. We don't have korban atomid, but we have our davening, and it replaces the korbanos. So in the korbanos, one of the things about the korbanos, the tefillah is not just you bring a korban. It comes with a achona. You have to make sure, check the animal, it should not be blemished. Check the animal, make sure it's perfectly okay to come, appropriate to bring it to the korban. Something with davening, you cannot just jump and daven. You have to make achonas, make sure you have gufnoki, machshavas nikiyas, and the whole day when you know you need to daven, you're going to conduct your business or the way you do things better. So I need to go daven, stand in front of Hashem. How could I do this? That's achona. The whole day you shtickle, you have a little achona preparation for davening, because you need to, like the animal, have to be without blemish. How are you going to come to Hashem with blemish? So the people from the outside said, as long as people busy with the tmidim, with the korban, with the davening, you cannot conquer them, because if they come davening and the whole day it's achona for davening, you're going to think, how could I say this? How could I do this? How could I look at this? And I'm going to go stand in front of Hashem daven. So it's already prepares you a little bit for davening better. So comes the people from the outside, which is again the horkanus. It's more represents the inner part of a Jew, which is nefesh halakis, the godly soul, is davening, is learning. But then comes nefesh habahamis on the outside of Yerushalayim. Comes the nefesh habahamis and says, why you have to be so holy? Why you have to bring korban atomid that was checked? We're going to bring you a chazir. Chazir, that's why they brought chazir and not another animal, because a chazir is known the most nasty animal. A chazir could go to any garbage place, to the most places that no animal would go there. It means they say you don't have to come to davening so ready and so checked from any blemish. A chazir also could daven. A chazir could go. You could come to daven as a chazir. Yeah, go daven to Hashem. Why not? You're a Jew, and that's why that says that he mentioned this too. The Benayahu later, the Ben Yehoyada later on. That's why the chazir put his nails on the wall, because the chazir himself has 2 parts to him. If you look on his mouth of the chazir, it doesn't have any simonim, any signs of kosher. But if you look on his feet, he has a simonei kashrus. He has split hoofs. Chazir. So Chazir is saying over there, yeah, I'm kosher. You can bring me to Korban. I have a Simone Kashrus. He says, I'm a kosher Jew. Why not? I can be mitzvah l'minyan. I could come daven. And anybody could mitzvah l'minyan. Kol ve'asor hashchinta shari. Anybody could come. Yeah, and that's what he holds to the walls of Beis Hamikdash. He holds to the place of davening. I could be also mitzvah l'minyan. I mean, I don't need the achon. I don't need the. But that's what said, no, you can't do that. What holding our davening is holy. Our davening is strong, protecting us not to break those walls. The enemies cannot break to us because we're bringing the proper korban atomid. We'll prepare for it. The more we prepare, the better is the davening. That's why it says orur amagadol chazir. Don't meaning pashtus. We should not be dealing with the raising chazerim. The second thing is orur amagadol chazir. You can't grow yourself as a chazir, like say, I'm going to do whatever I want during the day, and then I'm going to come to davening in front of Hashem. It doesn't go like this. You have to prepare for it. There's a famous yerusholime the Gemara brings over there from Rashbi, Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. He said Hashem should have created for the person 2 mouths. We have 2 eyes, 2 ears. Should have 2 mouths. 1 mouth where we do our business the whole day, talking and dealing, whatever we're doing, and 1 mouth should be davening and learning, holy mouth, just for davening and learning. This way, it's all pure and holy. But it says it's good Hashem did only 1 mouth, because if Hashem would do 2 mouths, we would use the second mouth also for non-appropriate things. So it's 1 mouth is good. At least we have to try though that mouth, that 1 mouth we have. And that's what it says, Chazir, yeah, that by the feet you show, I'm a Jew, I'm a kosher, yeah, but by your mouth, you don't have Simone Kashrus. So that's why we're saying, it says, Oru Ra'ish, Megadol Chazir, meaning you have to grow yourself, prepare yourself for davening, not like a Chazir, like the other Korban, you make sure there's no blemish over there, you make sure you come ready to the Korban, come ready for davening. And then there's, V'oru Ra'odom Shilama Des B'noi, Chochma Yevonis. The idea of Chochma Yevonis, it's something that the Chazir is contaminated, the Chochma Yevonis is contaminated. So the maisim have to be right, the speech have to be right, the chokhmah, your machshava also have to be right. There shouldn't be contaminated machshavas, and that's what we could learn from those 2 brothers fighting over Yerushalayim. Meaning Yerushalayim is Irakodesh. It represents the Maharsha said, the Gemara in Megillah says, Asidim Bata Knesias Ubatam Neshabavel Shikovo Beretz Yisrael, gonna come Mashiach. So we're all gonna be stationed all over the Knesias of what we have here now in the Golos. We're gonna go to Eretz Yisrael. So Maharsha says, it's not a pshat only then they're going to go. Right now, he says, the Beit Knesset, Beit Midrashos have Kedushas Eretz Yisrael. They have right now a holiness, a miniature Eretz Yisrael. You want to go to Eretz Yisrael? You don't want to spend a lot of money buying a ticket, making a passport. Go to a shul, you daven, you learn, you made a miniature aliyah. You come to Eretz Yisrael. So that's what it says over here. If you go to Eretz Yisrael, you go daven to learn, you have to get ready, get purified before you go to Eretz Yisrael. But comes the brother from the outside, comes the Nefesh Abam, he says, no, we'll send you a chazir. You don't need to get so ready. He says, no. So that's what it says. We have to make sure by davening, and especially by davening, learning also, but especially by davening, we have to come with some achon. I'm going to finish with this. The Kotzker Rebbe said that the main reward for the mitzvahs, and the main our purpose over here doing mitzvahs, said it's not the mitzvahs themselves. Why? Because it says the mitzvahs themselves, malachim could do way better than us. The holier, the purer, they could do it perfect avodah for Hashem. If they need to do mitzvah of tefillin, Shabbos, matzah, they'll do it perfectly. 100% going to be pure and holy. The reason Hashem gave it to us, because we, in order for us to do mitzvah, we have to do hachona the mitzvah. We have to prepare for it. We have obstacles. It costs money to buy the matzahs. I have to make sure that tefillin is kosher. I have to make sure the mezuzah is kosher. We have to put efforts to make the avodah. It's not coming. I said tefillin is here. You have to put efforts to it. Like I said, so the main avodah Hashem gave us the mitzvahs because of the hachana of the mitzvah. Something by davening. The main part of davening, it's hachana for that. Come ready to daven, and the more we do hachana, the mitzvah of davening, that's the end of korban atomid, the more protection we have.